Dance, Tim, dance.
Yeah, dance
Tim,
like nobody's looking.
Hello, everybody. Tim and I are Halloweened out.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
don't have an ounce of pumpkin left in us today, but my God, what a week it's been.
Absolutely. But
These walls could talk.
and I'm Tym Moss.
And I'm Wendy Stuart. And my God, I told Tim I feel like I was rode hard and tied up wet. It was like too many costumes, too little time. There were like, I keep thinking it was 6 parties, but it was probably five events, the show.
I saw you so many times over the past like week and a half, and every time you had a different outfit and different costume.
Thank you. I'm not an outfit repeater. I've been accused by my daughter of being an outfit repeater. I'm not. I had to keep coming up. But you know, Tim, from like when I did pandemic cooking with Wendy during the pandemic, remember I had all those costumes.
Absolutely.
I saved all of them. So you know what? They come in handy. I'm a sensible girl. Tim, how was your show last night?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was really good. I had 2 performances. I had a small early in the evening, and then late night I had a mini set, and that was for the Halloween Festival of Theater for the New City on First Avenue.
Now that starts at like 3 o'clock.
It really was. I had never been to that festival before, and they had in the afternoon into the evening they closed off 10th Street and had performances all afternoon on 10th Street. And then they took it inside from 8 till midnight. And I closed the show. Terry Lee King and I closed the show. And, but it was wonderful. It was really good. I had a ball performing. I did a couple numbers and, they loved it. It was very naughty.
And everybody was in costume, right?
Yeah. Everybody, and they had the whole theater, everything, the entrance, everything, all decorated and it was wonderful. It was a wonderful, wonderful evening and wonderful.
Well, and also you were performing, and so was our guest who's coming on next week, JC Augustine.
Yes, I saw him. We got a picture together and chatted for a while. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so cool. That's so cool. I apologizing to you because I had fully intended to come around the corner, but Pangea was rocking and rolling like nobody's business last night.
And I stopped by there on my way over, so I got to see you in another outfit.
Yeah.
And
I was Marilyn last night.
Fabulous Marilyn Monroe.
What a fabulous mix of people they had here. People from Italy, Russia. France, Lower East Side, and every point beyond. It was one of the best mixes I've seen in New York City in a long time.
I think that had to do with the band. Who was that band? They were incredible.
They were incredible, and they played like the music that you hear when you're in Ibiza, sitting in a cafe, or Greece, sitting in a cafe. And then I walked in. When I came, there was this amazing young woman who was singing opera. She's incredible voice, a very seasoned voice, and someone who was very young. So, what a crew was here! It was really, really so incredible. Well, you know what, Tim. First of all, I do have to thank you. You know, Tim did a number with me for the Imperial Court in New York, Stonewall.
That was
our show called Toucha, and we really had a great time. The one thing I can always count on Tim for, we never have time to rehearse. So we did good. You did good, right? We never have any.
And it came out perfect. It came out great.
Came out perfect, and the Imperial Court was raising money for Trinity Place, which helps homeless LGBTQ youth. So always for a good cause and having a great time doing it, right? What could be better?
I got to see so many people from the Imperial Court that night. That I haven't seen in so long. It was wonderful. And also at Stonewall, and got to see some of my friends from Stonewall.
Wasn't it great?
Chauncey Danbridge was the DJ, which I always love seeing Chauncey.
We love Chauncey.
It was just such a great event, such a wonderful event. And I had to leave there that night to go to the Triad to see my friend James Beeman. He had his cabaret show at the Triad that night.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. And I just kept walking into all these people I hadn't seen for so long. Like Richard Skipper was there. Richard and Danny was there. my good friend Helena Galick. I sat with Michael, who was our guest last week. Michael.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, Michael. I sat with him, and it was just a who's who of cabaret people. Ira. I can't think of his last name. It starts with a C. He was there.
I'll try and read your mind, but it's not coming through so clearly.
All I could think is Collingsworth, but it wasn't Collingsworth. Ira Cohen. I can't think of it. Damn it. But
calling Tim. Tim, speaking of minds, you did have a head injury this week. Could you please tell people what happened to you? Tim is recovering from a head injury. Please share.
Yes, my head injury. I do my bridge walk over the George Washington Bridge and back, and I finished, and I was walking through the streets of my neighborhood here in New York City. And I mean, this happens, how many times a week? The pigeons are there and they just go flying by or flying around you or flying over you or whatever. Well, this one pigeon, this has never happened to me before, came flying at me, and its wing goes whoosh, actually slapped me on my forehead. I've never been
silly.
I'm like, what the hell? I've lived here for 40 years and I've never had a pigeon hit me.
Well, but there you go. Funny. You know what? Everyone's angry. The pigeons are angry. They're mad as hell, and they're not going to take it anymore. And you just walked by at the wrong time.
Yeah, but yesterday on Halloween, I actually attended 4 different things. And so my first one, a friend of mine, Laura Pappas, that I went to high school with in Indiana, her son lives here in New York. She and her husband were out here and a couple friends, or 3 friends. And so she reached out. And so I went out to dinner with them. I didn't eat because I knew I was eating later, but I went to the restaurant and we hung out and had so many laughs. It was great to see her. It was so cool. And then I left there to go see my other friend, Nanette Deasy Baumgartner, in down at under St. Mark's Theater. It's called Under St. Mark's Theater. Downstairs underneath.
Yes, downstairs
theater. I haven't been there in years.
That's a very old theater. Wow.
It is, and it's great. I love that theater. So I went to see her do The Vole Sisters, and it's 2 psychics that are it's improv, and they're not really psychics, but they're
it's like us, Tim.
It's hysterical. It was so funny. And at one point she had me come up to help her out on stage, and we just had a ball. That whole show was fun. So then we went out to a real dinner afterward and grabbed a bite to eat and hung out.
As opposed to a fake dinner.
And then I left I had the fake dinner with my high school friend. I didn't eat. They ate, I didn't. And then I went out to dinner after her show, and then I left there to go over to Pangea, where I saw you, and then grabbed my bags and went over to the theater for the new city. So I was,
ladies and gentlemen, we're all exhausted from all of this today. But I have to tell you, I'm very excited about an upcoming performer at Pangea. We have David Mills coming back this Friday at 9:30, and then we'll be back here again Saturday the 18th at 9:30. You have to catch him. He is really fabulous. So we look forward to you jotting that down and coming to Pangea to see David Mills. He's really quite a performer. And speaking of David Sabella was here last night. It was just it's just been a who's who of people. But oh my gosh. Speaking of who's who, our guest is here. I'm very excited. All of this chitter chatter, we want to take it one step further. We want to interview our amazing guest that's here today. He is a host, a movie critic. He has his own podcast, Unger the Radar. It brings movies and people together, one frame at a time. That is really great branding, by the way. Yeah. I just love that. It really does stick in your head. And I just want to talk to him about, he's such a movie expert, what he's loved, why he loved it, what didn't resonate well with him, movies from before, movies post-pandemic, movies. Put your hands together for Randy Unger.
Hey.
Hello, Randy.
Hello.
How are you doing?
How's it going?
It's great. And great to have you on board.
Yeah, we're having a bit of a technical issue here. It's very choppy, unfortunately.
Okay. It might
Okay,
be
well,
the
we can hear you okay. You're a little choppy. You're not on a phone, right? You're on a computer?
No, I am on a phone during my lunch break, actually.
that could be
Randy.
it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my.
All right, but we'll just have to do the best that we can. So,
Can you
welcome
hear
to the
us
show.
okay? Can you hear us okay?
Hold on a sec.
Yeah,
I could hear you, but it's in and out. I'm so sorry about this.
that's okay.
'Cause you're fine. Your image is coming through fine.
Right, and
Yeah.
we can hear you fine. So we'll talk slow, which is hard for me, but
Oops, and we lost
and we
him.
just lost him. Well, you know what? This is the magical world of streaming, everybody. These kinds of things happen.
Like
And
Terry Lee King said last night. Well, it actually was in drag, so it wasn't Terry Lee King. It was Amazing Grace. She's called Amazing Grace.
right.
She said it's just some testicle difficulties.
Oh, I love Great. So we're having
so we got Randy back here.
Difficulties today. I love that. I call it testicle difficulties. How about that one? There you go, Randy.
There we go.
Okay.
Hey.
Is that better?
Hey guys.
Okay.
Yep.
You're coming
slightly better, but not really.
All right.
Okay, that's okay.
So, Randy, how did you get involved? As you have a background in writing, how did you become a theater critic? I mean, a film critic. How did you become so critical?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, she was just asking how you got into writing and being a film
critic for film and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think this is working.
Okay.
So sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Do you have a computer you'd like to go to?
Access to a laptop or because it usually works fine with laptop or a desktop.
Laptop would be better.
Yes, I put that in the instructions. Do you want to go get a laptop?
If I had one, I would. Sure.
Oh, okay. Because you're
I'm so sorry.
On our end, you're fine.
Right.
You look fine and you sound fine. But is it just that you can't hear us, or is it just our pictures that are missing?
It just keeps going. It goes in and out. So I don't know.
The sound and everything does.
The sound and video. Okay, I think we're good for now.
Okay, well, let's just try it. Move. So don't move, don't breathe. How did you get into reviewing films?
Well, basically started in high school many moons ago. And reviewed for the school paper there. Then that kind of evolved into me writing for school papers at college. And then I started writing freelance for a few years for different websites. And I got a little bored with writing, so I decided to just transition to broadcast like you fine folks. Mm-hmm. And I basically started hosting a 10-minute segment on a streaming show very similar to this in 2016. And that basically also evolved into a 1-hour show, which I basically hosted between 2017 and earlier this year. And when I hooked up with SiriusXM, that was a huge milestone for me. They wanted only a 30-minute show. So basically, Under the Radar is now a 30-minute podcast through Sirius.
Okay. Very cool. Very
cool. That's great. So you started that basically in 2016.
Correct. Yes, as in broadcast. Yeah.
Wow. Very, very cool. What do you love about reviewing movies? What do you love, and what do you hate about it?
Technical difficulties like that. No. But yeah, I've loved movies as long as I can remember. Since I was like about 4 years old, I remember going to the theater, seeing Ghostbusters 2 with my parents, and I was immediately hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I've just been really amazed by the power of cinema and how you can be transported to any world and see the world through different characters' eyes. I figured reviewing movies is a great extension of that love. And, I basically started doing it in high school and I never looked back.
How totally cool. So you came from a family that was like a film, people come from film families where, you grow up watching films. Parents really encourage their kids.
Yeah, my dad, he exposed me to all the classics, like from,
Mhm.
the 30s up until the 60s.
Oh,
Um,
yes, yes.
like Alfred Hitchcock, Billy
Yeah.
Wilder.
Yeah, all the
Uh-huh.
Okay,
um,
Randy, I got one for you. I just went
yeah.
to a screening of King Kong with the original Fay Ray.
Wow. All
Oh, I
right.
love that
The
Classic.
movie.
film historian, someone you probably know, but if you don't, you should get to know. He's a wonderful guy, John DeLeo, who
Okay.
all he does is write books and review and present old
Mm,
films. And I have to tell you, he is an expert. And
okay.
I didn't have much of an interest in classic films. I'm very much like when you mentioned Ghostbusters and that, I'm very much into contemporary films. But you know what? He screened Casablanca, and he
Yeah.
gives you all this information about the actors, stuff that you would never know, Tim and Randy.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
it just made it interesting. So King Kong was so funny because the animation in those days and how
Yeah.
they made the monster. I was sitting
Right.
there, I was laughing so hard I was almost crying.
But the
It
thing
is a
is,
little, yeah. Yeah.
but the thing is for that time, it was brilliant. It was
Right.
it's all brand new special
Right.
effects and
Yeah.
things that people have never seen before.
They had never seen it
Exactly.
before,
Mhm.
right?
I'll take the classic King Kong over any of the remakes, any of the
Me too.
sequels,
Yeah.
which are just, they're just so unnecessary because you've got such a
I
classic
agree.
film.
Yeah.
Why ruin that reputation? And it's just really, it's studios trying to make more money.
I was just gonna say
But
one
yeah.
word, money.
Well,
That's
yeah,
it.
at the end of the day, but keep in mind, both of you both know this. The whole studio system was a completely different setup back
Absolutely.
then. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look what we have. There's some good things about now, and I think Randy, when I texted you, I did want to talk about your feelings and impressions about the world of Netflix versus the world of
Mhm. Yeah,
independent
the stream.
films.
Oh, wow. Well, that is quite a topic.
Right, right.
So, I mean, obviously, streamers like Netflix are great for people who don't want to, walk over to the movie theater or take a, transit there. It is very convenient, but for me, I'm very old school, and I love the in-person experience of going to the theater, sitting down. You smell the popcorn.
Popcorn!
Yes, popcorn.
That just brings you into it. Yeah, we need that experience more. And
Mhm.
that's kind of a negative aspect of all the streamers out there, that
Yeah.
they don't really provide that experience for moviegoers.
Right.
So it's a little lazy, but
And there's also something that's so special about being in a dark room with
I agree.
strangers all watching the same thing.
you're right.
That
Yeah,
that is
the whole thing is it's a communal experience that it
Right.
really can't be matched by any other thing.
right,
So
right.
I love it.
Especially I don't know if Tim, you might remember we interviewed someone. We were talking about Lowe's Paradise Theater in
Oh,
the
yeah.
Bronx where I grew up.
Yeah.
It is
From
actually
Frankfurt.
known throughout the country. It was
Mhm.
one of those gigantic old grand theaters with the pillars inside, the painted ceiling, but the sky. But what the coolest thing, the minute the movie would come on, that sky would go dark and twinkling stars would come out. So you felt like you were outside, like in the Colosseum in Rome, watching a film as opposed to being in the Bronx. We just lost Randy again.
Oh, he'll be back. He'll be back.
He'll be back. We know we can trust him.
But
Tim,
yeah, Lowe's Theater, yeah, in the Bronx, the Lowe's
Yeah.
Paradise Theater, that was
Right.
huge.
right.
And it in the middle of the Bronx, and it was such a cultural phenomenon. It was such a just a second. Let me do this.
Yep.
He's out.
Okay.
There we
you are.
Oh God.
There
All
you
right.
are, man.
It's okay. It happens sometimes. We're fine. We're fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
you're
Cool.
fine. Don't
Yeah,
even
we were
worry about
we
it.
were talking. We were talking about the
Lowe's Paradise.
experience of,
Okay.
of going into a theater. But then even that
Yes.
changed. You had like the Lowe's Paradise Theater in the Bronx, which was enormous. It was huge.
Amazing.
We had a big one up here called the Coliseum, RKO Coliseum in Washington Heights.
Right.
And they end up chopping that up into like 6 or 8 little theaters, which, oh, I hated those.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you could hear, you know how cinema has evolved.
Right.
It from that grandiose experience down to just little chopped up.
I call it wham bam thank you ma'am, because they can monetize it, like that theater up by you, Tim, where they can show 8 different films, right? And we said at the beginning of the show, it's about that being able to monetize it, and then they take away the experience. Unfortunately, Randy, to your point about streaming, that's not going to go away, because what happened was movies got so expensive for families to go to that, people love the ability, even if they have to pay to watch it on a pay channel, they're okay with that, because it's not like having to buy. What are the tickets at the movies now? Like $15, $20?
Yeah.
How much
more?
are they?
No, they're close to 20 actually. $19, I think.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But there are certain things like that enormous screen you can't experience that in your home.
Well, and then there's also some movies that are made for that big screen, like the Indiana Jones movies, the big blockbusters. Those are always the best on the big screen.
Well, for me, actually, it doesn't really matter what the movie is. It's the venue. And one of my absolute favorite theaters, this is a shameless plug, the Nighthawk Cinema in Brooklyn is just fantastic. They show older films like 80s and 90s. They show newer stuff too. They serve food and drinks during the movie, and it's just a wonderful experience.
My daughter told me about it. Tim, you can get. I'm like, where is this place? I didn't even know about it. Of course,
go to a movie. That would be fabulous.
Yeah, you can order food there.
They've got the Nighthawk Cinema does it, and then there's the Alamo Draft House. They also serve food, and they're just wonderful theaters.
Nice.
And I think we're breaking up again. Oh God,
we're still here for you. Well,
where is the Nighthawk? Where is that at in Brooklyn?
Oh boy,
what do you know? What neighborhood?
Randy's going to take another leap into the great unknown.
I don't think this is working, guys.
Oh,
go off and come back. We'll talk. It's fine.
Right. Maybe we could reschedule, and I'll have a laptop next time.
Okay, well, we could try that. But I would like to, because I've got so many more questions I wanted to ask you. But
I can't even hear that.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you at all.
No.
All right.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
It's fine.
That's okay.
Bye. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, to be continued, I hope.
All right. Bye-bye.
Tim, you and I can discuss movies.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into it. Now, you saw Barbie, right?
Oh my God, I love Barbie.
So you loved it. Okay.
I love Barbie.
Look at how happy I said the Barbie film. Look at how happy that made you. And I personally know, I think that's why that film did so well, because it just made people have the reaction that you had.
Well, not everybody.
Right. The other side that are like, I have friends that are like, that Barbie film. Believe it or not, I fell in between.
Oh, okay.
Because tell me what you loved. I want to hear what you loved.
What I loved was it was just simple escapism, but also with a message.
Right.
And I liked the female empowerment. I liked all of that. I the first time I saw it, I didn't know if I liked that, that for such a frivolous show. It's about a Barbie doll. It's about a doll, and trying to come up with a concept and a story and all of that, and then try to throw in this moral thing at the end. Right. But I think it worked. I think it all worked because we're talking Barbie here, who Barbie is always.
You saw it twice.
You said I've seen it a couple times. Yeah, and because I just went back, I love that. Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie.
Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie.
Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie. Hi Barbie. of that.
Right. So that really turned you on. So you went back to see it again. Wow.
Yeah. It's just, I thought it's just, again, I found it to be a very feel good, very, a film about female empowerment, and because everything is always patriarchal, everything is always the man, and Barbie has always represented an impossible human figure of the female, who the females, since Barbie came out, have been born trying to look like Barbie
to achieve that. Right.
and it's impossible to achieve that.
Right.
In
Well,
human
Barbie
form.
is like a filter on Instagram. That's how it's like what's on Instagram. And you're right, it's impossible. But the original Barbie, right, that was born, when I was a little kid, was something that, like, you felt if you didn't look like that, you were less than. And
that's what I mean. And it's impossible to look like that.
But you know what, Tim? Don't hate me for saying this. I still feel there is a certain male, like in my neighborhood, I look at, it's filled with a lot of financial guys. I've been there for forever, but all the new people, financial. And I look at them, they're fit, they work out. And I look at their wives, and a lot of the women they're coupled with are Barbie-esque.
Exactly.
And my daughter and I noticed it. It's not just mine messed up, perception.
I agree.
Right. So that it's the whole, remember that terminology, trophy wives. So that still exists.
Absolutely. That's the patriarchal mentality.
Right.
And again, the women who were born to try to spend their entire lives to try to achieve looking like Barbie and not being able to completely because it's impossible.
Right.
It affected their entire lives.
Yeah.
People who are constantly trying to, I want to look pretty. I want to look this way. I want to look this way.
I want to look like that.
Right. And always feeling like they're falling short. That is no way to live a life.
Right. But you know what?
That's what this movie kind of tapped into a little bit was.
But interesting. Greta Gerwig, who directed it, woman's woman, right?
Yep.
Brilliant. She's brilliant. But it is interesting because I love Margot Robbie, and she's gorgeous, and she's a wonderful actress.
Barbie.
She was the perfect Barbie, and in any role that she does, and this is me as another woman, I love her. I can't get past how gorgeous she is. I mean that in a positive way. But and I know she's a great actress. Of course, I love what she plays, but I love that she took part of that movie was produced by her. She took her money and put it behind it, and that man speaks volumes about her.
Yep, absolutely.
It really says who she is.
I think she wanted to get that message out there, and she felt confident about it. Yeah,
exactly.
And what was really interesting, I don't remember if you were there yet or not at the Pride Parade when Barbie started to come by, because I announced, I said, it looks like we've got, I said, is anybody waiting to see the Barbie movie? And that place exploded.
Right.
Everybody was, oh my God, yes, I want to go see Barbie. I was going to, because at that time I was just like, why do all these people want to go see a Barbie movie? But
here's the thing, now we can link Barbie, right? We were talking about past history. Let's link Barbie into now. What Barbie does for us now. The whole, the war in Israel hadn't started yet. We had the war in the Ukraine. We had, all the issues we're having in politics, right? What could be better than, and you used the word earlier, than something frivolous, something pink.
Right, exactly.
Like, hi, Barbie.
Escapism, absolutely.
Yeah. What could be better than having the perfect escape for people? I do think, and I know you know this too, a film doing well, a lot of it has got to do with the timing, because that Barbie script, I read the backstory, was around and somebody else was trying to raise money to produce it, and it evaded my mind. Do you remember who it was?
No,
Sometimes, Tim, your mind and my mind make a whole
mind.
Right. Whoever
But I
it
didn't read
was.
that article. I didn't read that article, so I don't
Right. It
know.
was in New York Times Magazine, and whoever it was, had to bag the project because they weren't
Right.
able to.
Mhm.
But then Greta Gerwig came along with Margot Robbie and was able to put the whole thing together. So as they tell you, timing is everything in
And I
life.
I love the cast in that too. It was just so fun. It was
Same,
just
same,
yeah.
absolute,
But also, I
absolutely.
mean, but since the women kind of won out in it, and all the men were, "Oh, well, you hurt my feelings." Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh." And
Right.
it's
Well,
like that's how you've made women feel their entire lives.
right. For me, it was like retribution, and
Right.
I
Exactly.
have to say, like with Victoria's Secret fashion shows, I always said a woman would never produce a show with men so objectified the way men produce shows.
Yep.
The closest we've come to it, and he doesn't objectify him. Our amazing friend, designer Cokie Chulo, actually
Yes.
embellishes male and female bodies for
Yep.
his clothing, and his idea of perfection is anything goes, and
And
I
and
love it.
I have even
Right?
been one of the Chulo underwear models before.
Yes,
Like, he will have
absolutely.
all different body types, all ages, and he celebrates all of them, which I
He
love to put
celebrates, right.
Mhm,
Right, he absolutely celebrates all of them with his brand, and that's what I love about the brand, and I love about him.
mhm.
But,
Yep,
you look at the way Greta Gerwig made guys look in the Barbie film,
yeah,
the way women have been depicted for so long in films,
exactly,
even earlier films, dumb as a shoe,
uh-huh.
pretty, and quite vapid.
That it reminds me of this, back in my drugging days, there was a really cute drug dealer that I used to like, and he was always on the block on the street. And, I'm out, I'm gay, I have been for decades. And so he
Wait,
would
you're gay?
yeah,
You
surprise.
never said a thing. I'm finding this out on
But
air.
there was one day he was, like, leaning, on the hood of the car, and I walked by and I go, "Oh my god, nice ass," to him, and he turned around and he's like, "You can't say that. You can't say that to me." But yet I see him all the time going, "Nice tits, girl. Nice ass. Nice
Right.
this," and I'm just like, now you know how girls feel when you
Double
say that. Like,
standard.
men can dish it out, but they can't take it.
No,
They can't take it.
that's so funny. You can't say that to me. But he did have a nice ass, didn't he, Tim?
Oh, it was perfect. Otherwise, I
That was
wouldn't have said it.
wow. Oh my God. Do you have any movies that you've seen lately that you really like on
Oh
our
my
movie
god.
recommendations today?
The past month, I'm a big horror movie buff. I
Yeah,
love
oh, hello.
and so October, I love October because all the good movies are out. They're always on. And yeah, I saw a couple of good horror movies, but I haven't really seen like a drama or an action or
Which
any
horror
movie.
movie so you probably saw it on Netflix, right? Because they have the whole horror section on there.
Well, there's actually I don't really watch Netflix that much, but there's a movie called Cobweb. Cobweb
Oh,
that's very fun. It's a new movie that's out that I thoroughly enjoyed. And Talk to Me, which is it's about a hand, like kind of like a monkey's paw, but it's not really a monkey's paw.
talk to the hand.
But it's called Talk to Me. Those two surprised me. They were actually very fun to watch. And you
Wow.
didn't know what the hell was going on or what was going to happen. And I can always figure a horror film out in the first few frames, you
Okay,
know.
is that because you've seen so many of them?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I can tell you what movie inspired them and the whole bit. And sometimes it's a mixture. It's a combination of, you
So
know.
then Tim, on Facebook, a number of our friends put up this week for Halloween. What was your favorite horror films, right?
Oh, I
And
did one of those and got like hundreds. So many. And a lot of people gave me like some titles that I'd never even heard of. I hadn't even seen yet. So I've got
what
a whole list
you
for
have
the
a whole
next.
list. What were some of your overlaps though? Like mine were The Others and The
Yes.
Haunting of Hill House.
Oh
And
yeah, that was
what
good.
what a lot of people wrote, The Others was really scary.
Yeah, the others was great. I like that whole twist. That was a smart, very smart movie.
Right.
Um,
What were some of the other ones people wrote?
Oh, well, for me, my all-time favorite movie, and again, the younger generation will completely disagree with me, is The Exorcist. The
Oh, it's
Exorcist
great.
is the
Right.
most horrifying movie that was ever made,
Okay.
and it started any possession movie, any devil movie, anything
Yeah.
like that, all comes from the grandfather or the grandmother movie. I'm trying to be
Wow.
gender nonconforming. The grandmother, which is The Exorcist, the original Exorcist. And if you watch it with me, I will explain a few things that you will not see, and it's absolutely terrifying.
So wait, you have like how did you discover things that no one else knows about the film?
Oh, I studied that movie. I learned, I
You
read all about
studied
it.
it, Tym
Oh my
Moss
God.
studied
I
The
was
Exorcist.
fascinated with that movie because it horrified me.
Wait,
But yeah,
so
there are some sounds like at the beginning of the
yeah,
movie. Like there's one where he's in, I think Iran, it's either Iran or Iraq, where he's doing the dig, and he walks up on this mountaintop, and there's that idol across from him. Well,
yeah.
he turns and looks, and there are two dogs that are fighting. There are two dogs off in the distance fighting. That sound comes back later when he's trying to exorcise the demon out of the girl.
Stop. I can't believe you had
There's so many things that happen in that movie that repeat, that happen, and it's horrifying. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
but I don't know any of this, and I've seen it like 3 times. Tim, I
Right.
had no idea you had like you see what you
And-
learn about somebody, you don't know them till you know them.
And you
That's
also have
incredible.
to watch an uncut, beginning to end, without no commercial breaks. You can't no commercial breaks. You got to
Right.
watch the movie from beginning to end and get the whole flow and the movement of it, and it's absolutely horrifying. That beautiful, sweet, young, innocent girl turns into
They
that. You know,
set
what
you
would you
up,
do
right.
if your daughter, God forbid? Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine
Well,
what.
no, there are
And Ellen
stories.
Burstyn was brilliant in that.
Brilliant.
Oh my God.
Brilliant. Right. But there are stories of demonic possession. I mean,
Yeah.
we hear about that, and
Yeah.
it's totally plausible to me. There,
Yeah.
that can actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah.
I go to like a haunted place, I go to
Oh, I
haunted
love those.
houses.
I love
I've done the things where they bring in the teams. There's a place where I go in Milford, Pennsylvania called the Columns, which someone who died in that house, people have seen her in the window.
Oh,
Oh, this
sweet.
is a great Halloween talk. And they've
Yeah.
seen her in the window. Her name is Josephine. And she got impregnated by the man who owned the house. She was just visiting there, and
Oh my God.
he was married. And anyway, she was going to have his child, and she mysteriously fell down the stairs, and died. Of course, the baby died and everything. And the legend goes Josephine never left there, but people have seen Josephine in the window of the Columns. And I went on the tour of the place, and the guy who took me is like, he works with some of the Ghostbusters. He's also a historian, though, very legit guy. And he told me that there have been incidences with people that have parked their cars in the parking lot of this mansion called the Columns. That night, because I've done the tour a couple of times, that night, he had taken 8 of us out. It was a ghost tour of Milford, Pennsylvania. We've got a lot of haunted buildings.
Fun.
Go to get in my car, and it was a rental, and I'm hitting the key fob thing, and the door isn't opening. I hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, on the 5th time it opened, I thought maybe it's me. Maybe, sometimes things don't connect. I go to get in the car. I close the door, and I turn the car on, and it is dead. I turn it on again, and it is dead. And now the other people that were on this ghost tour with us have left the parking lot. It's myself and my husband, Alan. And the guy who had led the tour, I saw he was locking up the mansion. And I'm trying to kick the car over. That car is not kicking over. I yell for him, and he comes over. I said, my car isn't turning on. I said, there's no way the battery could be dead. It's a brand new rental. And he said to me, oh, it's just Josephine playing with you. And he stood there and he said, Josephine, Wendy's a very nice person. Let her go home. He said, try your car now. And this is true. If anyone's watching who thinks
my
marbles, I haven't. I go to turn the car on and it kicked over.
Oh my God.
So, but this is what I know. I've been told by people that do ghost busting, like, because I'm so sensitive. It's people like me that can go in a house like that and get a ghost that attaches to them.
Right.
Have you ever had that happen?
Probably. I think probably, but I don't know for sure. Yeah.
But you know that can happen, right?
Oh,
the ghost
God, yeah. Oh, most definitely.
attached to you. So yeah, so Halloween makes me think of all the scary movies I've seen, and it's the thing I actually love about Halloween. It's what makes it magical. Oh, here we go. Our wonderful friend Suze Genero is on here, and Suze says, I'm a ghost magnet.
Ghost magnet.
Right. I would imagine that other people I'm friends with are ghost magnets also.
Yeah.
But we have to be smart enough to stay out of haunted houses. That's, that's the thing. Because it's like they attach to you and then they can just really totally mess up your life. They're just playing with you, Let me tell you, even with this whole thing of streaming, I've had weird stuff happen because none of us know what electronic things are going through the room or in the air, or what causes
it affects us because we're energy and water and,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Like, well, look what happened to our guest today.
Yeah.
It was just taken off the stream, right? In front of our very, very eyes. This kind of stuff can happen. But I digress. I started talking about movies, and here's where
I always go to horror.
Right. So I love films, and I was never a Netflix person, but I find that I try and watch one. Alan makes fun of me. He calls them terrible, a lot of that, but I try and watch one of those. Like, they're usually made in England, and there's some kind of somebody gets murdered and you don't know who done it. I like to watch like once a week. A Netflix thing, it just takes my mind off of everything.
No, are those the real stories or are they?
No, these are fiction, but this is what I've noticed about Netflix, which is why I want to have this discussion with our guests, but I can have it with you too. A lot of this stuff is just similarly themed. Story, it's very much, no one has said this, but I feel this. Did you used to watch Lifetime stories, Tim?
No,
Okay, so but the Lifetime.
I know
of them. Those stories were like. Netflix is like that in a lot of ways with the kind of subject matter.
They get a pattern. They get something that works, and they keep repeating and repeating and repeating. They, that's what they do in all of entertainment, and it's based on money.
Right. So Well, back to that.
It sells. Let's remake it and call it something else, but it's the same thing. And then it's the same pattern.
Well, because it's a formula that sells.
A formula, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Right.
See, we get there.
No, it is that psychic thing. And by the way, my friend Suze, the amazing designer, just gave me a beautiful compliment. The ghosts usually attach to teenage girls. So I should consider it a compliment.
There you go.
Tim Moss, it's come to that, where it's like, I'm looking for ghosts to attach.
Compliments from a ghost.
Taking compliments. I know, taking compliments from a ghost. So we're rolling into the month of November, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know where October went. Tim, you were like on roller skates in the month of October. Crazy.
Yeah. I've been on the run, but it all of a sudden November hit and it got cold last night. The temperature dropped. Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here in a sweater.
I see that you're in a sweater, and I'm here at Pangea, and we did put the heat on. The heat is on. We did put the heat on here. Suze had something else about. Oh, they get when we travel. There's ghosts when we travel too. Oh my God. I mean, you know what, Tim? You have brought out the worst in me today, post Halloween, because no, this is another true story. I had made a reservation to go to Vermont, and it was for New Year's, and everything was sold out. And I sent out a deposit to a place that looked really nice, and the money came back in the mailbox. That should have been the thing that gave me the red flag. It came back. It had never been delivered. So I called this place up. It was the Eagle Tavern, and I begged. That's another thing I've learned. If the universe doesn't want something to happen, don't beg, don't push it. I know you know that.
Agree. I
So I
agree.
begged him, like, please.
It took a lot of lessons to learn that.
Right. It's New Year's. We really want a place to stay.
Right.
Can we, don't you have anything? And they're like, we're really sorry. And we're sorry we never got your money. We don't know what happened. 1 hour later, my phone rings. It's the Eagle Tavern. And they're like, well, you won't believe it. We had a cancellation.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, yay, great. I'll take it. And they're like, you know, you won't get the deposit here in time. Just come. So we drive to this little small town outside of Killington, Vermont. Was it Killington or Stowe? I don't remember. But what I noticed first, the town green was in a triangle.
Oh,
that
Lord.
is not, oh, you see that? That's not good. And at the head,
I don't know what that means, because that's kind of the goat head.
It's energy vortex.
Yeah.
Salem has a triangle in it too.
Yeah.
And at the head of the triangle, here I'm making a triangle to show everybody. At the head of the triangle is the Eagle Tavern. So we go in. The building was from the late 1700s. And I love beautiful old buildings. But again, like our friend Suze, who tuned in today, said, you know, when you travel, this can happen to you. And certainly you're in an old building. I walk in, the door was open. And I'm like, hello, hello. Nobody answers. And they were expecting us. Right. And Alan and I are there with our, you know, little weekend duffel bags. And all of a sudden the door creaks open. And this is true. A man is standing there and not smiling. He says, oh, you must be the Kaplans. We're expecting you. So.
Okay.
Right. It got worse from there. I'm like, yeah, we're the people. I said, you know, our deposit was returned. And he said, I know the story. He said, well, it's your lucky night because wait till you see the room we have available for you. You'll be staying in the ballroom. So I know. So now we're last minute Charlie's and we've got the biggest room in the place.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, there were a lot of red flags. So we go up and it's an enormous room and there's dolls all propped up all around. You know, the dolls that look at you like that. The dolls are
my
up. I know. And, you know, they're all dolls. Like they weren't Barbie. They weren't Barbie. They were like those kind of
creepy fucking dolls.
Creepy old dolls all around the room. And he said, you know, breakfast starts at 7:30 and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night. So we closed the door and Alan and I put our stuff down. And I said to Alan, I said, there's something really creepy about this house, the room and everything. And he said, well, he wanted to go skiing the next day. He said, just, you know, let's try and get a good night's sleep and we'll go skiing. So I go to the bathroom, which was way on the other side of the ballroom. I walk across and I get ready to walk into the bathroom to wash up. And it was almost a column of cold air. And it was not near a window. And I know what cold air means. Okay. Right. I do know what cold air means. And I thought, oh my God, you know, I go in the bathroom, I get washed up. Alan felt the same cold air I did. We looked for drafts. There was no way this air could have been created, but it was there. So that night, I think I took an Ambien to go to sleep. Anyway, that night, this was the dreams I had. All of a sudden, the ballroom came to life and people were in garb from the late 1700s and they were dancing. But all around them were skeletons with chains leaning against the walls. And I could hear in my ears and I tried to open my eyes to get myself and I couldn't. And I remember finally screaming as loud as I could. And I told Alan what happened. He had weird dreams also. We stayed up the rest of the night. Consequently, nobody felt like skiing the next day. And thank God we checked out of there. Done. Anyway, wow. And you want to roll with these ghost stories. Have you ever had anything like that happen?
Yeah, I've had a couple ghost incidents. Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the short one would be. When I first moved to New York, I stayed at this Washington Jefferson hotel, which was this
I know
sleazy,
what that. Oh,
horrible, like cheap. It was the only thing I could afford, but it was really
right.
cheap and just old and small and dingy and run down and all of that.
Yeah, oh,
Now
yeah,
it's
no,
now it's a boutique hotel.
right.
They've
I
changed it
remember it though. Yeah.
on 51st Street. Now I probably couldn't afford to stay there one night,
Once in
and
anyway.
but I would get this 2-room suite that's where I stayed for a couple weeks when I first moved to New York. And and you got like the sirens going outside and the guns going off and all that, it was just insane. But I was asleep one night and my best friend in high school had died. And she had died probably about 3
I'm
years
sorry.
before that. About
Wow.
3 years before that. That was the first really close friend of mine that I had lost, and it was traumatizing. But I had moved on. I had gotten past it. And all of a sudden that night I was laying there asleep, and it was woke up. It was between sleep and awake. That's when it usually happens.
Yes. What is
And
that?
that's the realm. That's that realm.
The
And
realm.
I knew something was at the foot of my bed, and I was scared to death to open my eyes. And all I could feel was Deb. All I could feel was Deb, my friend that had passed. So I knew they were coming through
Right.
Deb. That's where it was coming through.
You could.
And finally,
Wow.
I opened my eyes, and there was this figure. I think it was a man, kind of a thin, skinny man, that had his head wrapped up in bandages, like a horrible, like swollen,
Like a
swollen,
head, like he had a head injury or
almost
something.
like a mummy or something. That yes, a head injury, a severe head injury that was wrapped up, and he reached up and started to unwrap the thing, and I'm just like closed my eyes, and I was like, no, get out of here, and I felt Deb leave, or I felt that feeling leave, and I opened my eyes and he was gone.
That is
But
really scary. That's how it
that
happened.
was pretty scary. But I could tell it was done. But whatever, somebody had a severe head trauma in
Right.
that room at some point in time.
Right. And
Or
you
something.
no
It
one
was
ever tells
I could
you.
feel it was some type of accident or something, or I don't know if it was intentional or an accident or what, but
But it was
they-
interesting that the spirit, who I don't get the feeling that this was a nice spirit, chose to talk to you through
right,
your friend who was a nice person,
right,
right?
right, exactly. Yeah. It
So I
was
think
not
they
a good
shaped
thing.
or
It was not a
something.
good thing.
It was not a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, ooh,
Well, that was our Halloween episode,
there you
everybody.
go, everybody. Welcome to our post-Halloween episode. And we hope we entertained you as much as Tim and I entertain ourselves.
Yes, and
We are
we will have Randy Unger back on and talk about movies other than horror movies.
right, other than horror movies, and when Randy, it can be at a computer. That
Yes,
is
yes,
key.
yes.
And next week, of course, we have on the amazing JC
Mhm.
Augustine. So make sure you tune in for this wonderful person, playwright, actor, writer, and just I met him. I don't always get to meet the guests in person. Tim and I,
Uh-huh.
we don't, but I met
Yeah,
JC.
I know JC. Yeah,
Right.
I
Yeah.
saw him last night. Actually, he performed twice at last night's
I
festival.
know he was going on at 9:30. He told me he was
Yeah,
going
he
to be
was in the cabaret at 9:30, and he did a thing right before I went on. And
well,
Austin Pendleton went on, and then
fabulous.
JC went on, and then I went on, and then Terry went on.
Wouldn't I have loved to be there for all four of you in a row?
Yeah.
That had to be pure magic. Well, we will see everybody next week. Bundle up, babies. It's cold outside. And
Baby,
have a great rest of week. Ooh, see y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.